Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Till Death Do Us Pod with me, Tova Lee.
And me, Michael Lee.
I do most of the intros. Let's not lie here.
Do you?
I think I do.
Maybe someone there can jot them all down for us. And
yes,
let us know.
Someone out there listening.
Nothing else better to do with your time.
Yes, please let us know who does more intros. We are going to be talking today to someone very special and who has just become like really dear to my heart. Who I really, really love. And I met so randomly and I'm so happy. And her name is B. Appleby. Did I say that right, by the way?
Totally. You said it
good.
How can you get that wrong?
I don't
B.
know. No, B,
I mean,
of
like
course, but
syllables,
Appleby.
Mike.
I know.
It's a tricky one to mispronounce, isn't it?
Also, but although I did listen to the Simon Brodkin podcast, and evidently you do mispronounce some things.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, but that's,
exactly.
Towns.
See, I feel like
British towns.
he doesn't support me, B.
Not big on British towns.
But yes, B. Appleby from the lovely Female Lead, which is obviously a charity that does so much to empower women. And you've got two books. Well, one book's out and the other one is in process, right? And that's sort of how we met. So tell us a little bit about the Female Lead. Let's start from there.
So the Female Lead is an educational charity. Our aim is to kind of empower women to take the lead in their own lives at every age and every stage, with an emphasis. I mean, our emphasis was more on young women, hence the book, which we gave free to schools. It was founded by Edwina Dunn, who is a data science pioneer. So we're a lot about research, storytelling, finding out what women care about, listening to them, and then hopefully using that information to create change through government, through businesses, to kind of recommend changes that will make women's lives better. And, we tell stories, we show all the diverse routes to fulfillment that there are. And that's what we do.
It's amazing that there hasn't kind of been this kind of thing before. I find it quite surprising there's actually found no one's doing this.
Well, Mike, I don't know if you know, but for many years, women were kind of second place.
I hear you.
Yeah, not so much with the prominence. I mean, there have been lots of things that sort of do something a little bit like this, or charities that are emphasize, the emphasis is on maybe I don't know, certain specialized areas
like
of
third world, women in the third world.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
and this is really broad, it's just like, and also, but take into account the huge diversity that there is between women. You can't say women, women in all the many intersections that there are. We like to make sure that we tell all those stories.
Yeah. And obviously I'm a huge fan and I follow on Instagram, and what you do is really amazing. And like you said, it is diverse, and you also tackle different aspects of, what women are, coping with or thinking about. We're going to get into all of that in a minute. But I just want to say, a few months ago, I filled in a survey that you put together, which was the Fulfillment Survey. And I found it so great. Like, I found it was a survey that basically, tell me if I'm saying this wrong. Okay. I just want the listeners to look it up and do it, because I thought it was brilliant. Yes. And it just analyzed like different aspects of your life that could possibly contribute to how fulfilled you would feel in your life, like money and work and your relationships and self and different aspects. And then it shows you in a graph, like how important these aspects are to you and where you are in your life today. And for me, it was so accurate. It really helped me out. But what was funny was it also tells you what your persona is. And my persona was achiever, I don't know, something achiever, which, it's like, okay, yes, overachiever, whatever. But it said only 8% of women are like that. And I felt so special. And then people started doing the survey and getting whatever it was they got. It was like only 4% of women, only 3% of women. And I was like, oh. I thought I was so special, but clearly not.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. know what? You are special.
Thank
You
you.
are still special to me. Very special.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad that you enjoyed that. And I
Yeah.
think it's a really, for me, I feel like that fulfillment finder tool that we have, I just feel like, especially as we get older, maybe in the earlier part of your life, you do sort of like career finding surveys and things. And I feel like, kind of a little bit older, mid-career, that moment to like stop and take a minute to like look at all these the 5 main areas of your life and like, actually, where am I going? Like, am I happy in this area? Am I taking care of my money? Am I like looking after my relationships? Or like, not so much like, am I failing in an area, but like, is there balance
Yes.
in my life? And I just think it's a really great thing. We always say take the lead in your own life. That's kind of what we're all about. And like, having that moment to take stock and to look at yourself and look at your life, it's something that I think women don't do. They don't give themselves the time to do that. And so it's kind of empowering in so many different ways because of that, like just taking the time to do it, then the results that you find out, and then what we'll be able to do actually when we see like all those bits of data, we'll be able to say, hey, financial services, do you realize you're not telling women, what they need to know, things like that. Yeah.
Is this presuming that this survey is because you mentioned your founder, this is her background?
Yeah.
So presumably this was kind of her idea, I'm assuming.
Yes. She loves the idea that we could be an enormous kind of representative focus group almost of women,
Right.
really listening to what they care about, what they want to change, because that doesn't really exist. And we love that idea. That's how you make a difference. That's how you create change. Everything is about data.
And I wanted to ask you as well, going back to what you said about the collection of stories, the first book, there's another one coming out. Where do you get these stories from? Are these one? I mean, because I've read some, it's like, oh my god, never heard of them. Obviously, like, obscure names, no idea.
And also some very well-known names. Yeah.
So I mean, where do you get them? Do people send them in? Do you got researchers that go out and look for them? How do you get them all in?
Yeah, I mean, the first book, we had hardly anyone on our team, and it was just like 2 of us researching, looking around for people. We really wanted there to be a balance of like big names, like Meryl Streep, she was in the first book, and then also like people that no one had really ever heard of, but have incredible stories. That we had like the first proper female firefighter in New York City. Her story is incredible. Brenda Berkman, like she won a court case against New York City, what are they called, government. And then when she got to be in the fire service, all her, well, not all, but a lot of the guys in her firehouse tried essentially to like booby trap all her equipment. They hated her being there. They were kind of like trying to kill her. I mean, it's absolutely amazing story. Just amazing stories like that, people heard of her. And then the next book, which I think is this going to be out in November, so our book will pretty much be out then. So if you're listening to this in November, look up the book. Hopefully you've heard about it. And in that book, we've got the ex-Prime Minister of Australia, Julia Gillard, Katie Piper, Jade Thirlwell from Little Mix, who's actually a really inspiring woman. And then some people that like nobody would ever have heard of. We got somebody called Maya Gazal, she came to this country when she was 16, and she is now trained to be a pilot. She was an asylum seeker. It's like incredible stories like that from Afghanistan. And then we've got like Twiggy and and then TikTok, Lucy Edwards, who's a TikTok influencer who's blind, and she does incredible stories about what it's like to be blind. So like we spent a whole year just kind of researching, looking for people who have great stories, but also people that represent so many different versions of fulfillment.
Have you ever had you've approached someone and said, we'd love to tell your story or repeat your story? Has anyone ever sort of said, no, you can't, for any reason?
You always ask the negative questions. Like,
there might be someone out there.
Why would you ask that?
People turn down like TV shows. People turn down things.
Like,
I don't want my work. No.
I love it that you've asked that. And yes, many people have said no.
Thank you.
But some people are just massive. You're always reaching, right? You're always reaching and reaching.
Oh, I see.
And like when the first book came out, this really made me laugh. I mean, for the first book, I must have asked so many incredible women. Like I was going for everyone. Angela Merkel,
Yeah,
Oprah,
yeah.
I was going for everyone. And then when the book came out, people would go up to me and be like, why didn't you have Hillary Clinton in there? And I'm like, mate, do you not think I tried? Like, she's running for president. Do you not think I maybe tried? And like, I was like, yeah, Hillary Clinton, she's no good. We're not going to have her. Like, I tried her. Like, so yeah. Some people do say no.
Yeah,
it's not very
because
nice.
The reason for people who haven't got the book yet, the reason is the photography in it is incredible.
So beautiful.
And so it's not just a story, having incredible portrait shots of the women in the book. So it's not just a question of saying to Angela Merkel, can we repeat your story? No, you need to come in, we need to do a shoot. Hence why people might go, I'm a little bit busy running my country.
Exactly. Hey, Angela. Yeah, exactly. It is like we asked them to come in and have 2 hours and have a photo and have a video and have an interview. So it is like a bit of a, I mean, for somebody who is running an entire country, it is a bit of a commitment. Yeah. But, last time we did actually get Christine Lagarde, who was like running the IMF at the time, so that was pretty cool. I mean, we had to do that in her office, but it was like, we could get her in the end. But so that's the book, and everybody, please have a look at the book. You can get it on Kindle. And
so will it be available? So I know with the first book, you wanted to bring it into schools. Is this book going to be in stores? Where can people find it?
You'll be able to buy it online, and then also you'll be able to get it on Kindle as well.
Right. Oh, wow.
And we'll be donating it to schools for free.
Really nice.
How lovely. Yeah. And I just want to point out, I don't know why, how, but I'm very grateful, but I am in the book. I am in the second book right there.
You are, Tova.
Between all these amazing women.
You're in there.
I know. And it was a really lovely day, by the way, coming in for that interview and the photo shoot. It was so lovely. It was a great atmosphere and beautiful team. And that's where I got to meet you in person, which was delightful.
It was. We had I feel like we really shared a moment there.
Yeah,
we were both
did.
Like basically nearly in tears.
Yeah, basically, that's the effect I have on people. Just make them cry.
I was like, God, this interview. When will it end?
Sorry.
No, it was so good. It was so good. I loved it.
Honestly, that was one of my highlights, I have to say, of this year. It really was. So I'm really
not your life.
No, no.
She had a nice day out.
I think she got a free cup of tea.
Exactly.
I did. I took a banana, by the way.
I was wondering where that banana went.
That was
unbelievable. I want to ask you about this other project you've done, which is between the female lead and the Cambridge University psychologist Terry Apter, Disrupt Your Feed project. What's that exactly?
Mike, you went really Paxman then.
Yeah.
But anyway,
exactly?
okay. I'll try and answer you properly. So that was a research project that we did not last year but the year before, and it was based on the kind of worry that everyone has about young women, teenagers especially, and social media, of this panic that's been around about the toxic effect of social media on young women. I'm sure you read those headlines all the time about what it does to them. So we got together with Terry Apter, who's a psychologist from Cambridge, and we did a qualitative research project where we, for a year, interviewed the same girls. They were in their teens, about their social media use. We did interviews at the beginning of the year and then at the end of the year, and asked them about how they felt about social media, how it was impacting their mental health, their sense of optimism about the future, their sense of their ideas about body image, all of that kind of stuff. And so we did the first interviews, and then we said to them, try this intervention that we think might work, which is basically just add in like a few different people into your feed. Follow some new people. We're going to give you some recommendations. They're not the kind of people you normally follow. They were like scientists, they were academics, there were sportswomen, businesswomen. And then we came back to them later in the year and said, how did your experience change? And what we found was that it had a massive impact.
Wow. Because
they were suddenly seeing different ideas of what it is to be a woman. Many more women who are famous for doing thing rather than how they look. And also because of the algorithm, you know yourself, right?
Yeah.
The algorithm just keeps feeding you the same thing all the time unless you kind of break it, which is why we
Yes.
called it disrupt the feed. So, and what these girls said was once they'd added in these new women, then the algorithm was showing them
Other
lots
things.
of other different kinds of women.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the world opened up. And what they said before was that they were feeling down about a lot of stuff because of social media and just, you know, always seeing the same kind of perfect images of, you know, influencers. And by putting in these new women, they were getting a whole different view of womanhood and different interests coming up. And then someone said like, oh, I went on an environmental march, and, you know, I got involved in feminism, you know, all these things and interests opened up, and they felt better about themselves. And that was it. I mean, it was like free, you know, it's not difficult to organize. It's simply just disrupt your feed, add some new people. So then we did a campaign where we said, you know, disrupt your feed, add in, follow these people. We did a big list of people, you know, different people to follow on our website. And then we also launched this kind of pledge to go alongside this research, which was, you know, just a sort of checklist of reminders about how to kind of disrupt your feed. And one thing that's important is that we weren't saying stop using social media or take a break or limit how much you use, because it's unrealistic. So what we're saying is just make what you do healthier.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, don't eat junk food all the time, eat some good stuff, or like, you know, have more of a rainbow in your diet. So we said, you know, one of the things we said was transform your feed with new people. Then we said love, not hate. So follow people that you respect and who make you feel empowered, because that is key, isn't it? It's like, you follow people that you don't like so that you can laugh at them. That's really not healthy.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was like comment kind, you know, don't say anything you wouldn't say in person, which is an obvious one. And then the other one was just like scroll mindfully, like think about what you're doing. Don't just be like a robot scrolling, seeing the same thing. Like think about what you're seeing, you know, analyze it, think, do I like this? Do I not like it? Should I try something new? So those were the messages we really wanted to give out, and it went down really, really well.
Wow, that's amazing. I
really
think it's so interesting how you know the internet and the wild, you know, the big wide web is so big, but then on the other hand, you're right, we're so like we're so inside our little boxes of whatever it is that the algorithm is feeding us, or even just the people that we follow. They're, you know, they're limited. It's a number of people, you know, and then you're right,
it creates that echo chamber,
an echo chamber. And you just like see, and I get that a lot from people who say to me, oh, I hate it, like everywhere I look I see, you know, people looking good or doing this or that, and I always say that, well, who are you following? Like maybe you should be following other people. You know.
Totally.
It's that's fantastic. So is that campaign now finished, or can people sort of look into, can they still take part? Like how?
Yeah, if you look on our website, we have a lot about this, and then also we have a recommended, you know, follow list of people to check out who you might not have heard of. So it's all on our website, and we also have a separate website we do a schools society. We want girls in schools to set up their own kind of clubs, female lead clubs, and so we have a lot about it on there as well.
Amazing. That's incredible. Do you talk at schools? Do you do stuff like that?
Yeah, we have done. I mean, obviously pre-COVID we did. Yeah, we used to go in and do talks and do kind of sessions, but then we thought, actually, as we got bigger, you know, there's hardly any of us actually working on the team, so better to get girls to run it themselves, peer to peer, and then we kind of give them the resources, and we're like the support for them kind of from head office. But yeah, it's like a really lovely thing for them to do in their school, and they can kind of steer the program to what they are particularly interested in, but we give them resources that they can use.
That's amazing. And what's the age kind of
it's like secondary school kind of age. So
amazing. Okay, I just realized we jumped into the convo without playing our favorite game, which is the Two Truths and a Lie. So I feel like this is a good point to just play a little game.
You love this game.
I do. I love it, and I feel really cheated that we haven't played it yet.
Well, let's play it.
Let's play it, and then we'll go back. I want to talk to you about a few other things before before the end. So let's do the game
Okay.
first. So you know the game, right? Two truths and a lie.
I
We have to
do.
guess.
I do.
Mike and I maybe can't play, like if he knows what I'm telling, he won't cheat and I won't cheat. Okay. And
Okay.
we'll play, I'll go first, you go second, then Mike goes last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I am going with 3 stories about 3 different individuals who bought me drinks. And the
Nice.
first story is that I met Ben Stiller in New York and he bought me a drink. The second story is that I met the Chippendales in Amsterdam and they bought me a drink.
All of them.
All of them.
Well, one of them.
Oh,
One of
do you
them.
mean Chippendales? Do you mean like Alvin Theodore?
No, I
and
mean the
Diamonds?
strippers, the Chippendales.
It wasn't a man
Not the
in some sort of squirrel outfits or whatever they are.
And I met who said he was the Prince of Saudi Arabia in London, and he bought me a drink.
Wow. So one of these is.
So 2 of these are truth,
So
and one is a lie.
One is a lie.
Okay.
These are
Okay.
good ones, right?
Yeah,
These
for
are good
once,
ones.
you've
These are
actually
good
I know,
come up with
because
some good
usually
ones.
mines are rubbish.
Yeah, I like snow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I like potatoes.
Yeah.
Like potatoes. Okay. I think.
Do you know these stories, by the way?
I know
you,
one
you
of
know
them,
one, so you
I mean,
can't.
how could you not know these stories? Unless you're like a really good wife that doesn't retell stories constantly, as I do.
I feel like I quite repeat.
I think the Chippendales is too weird for it to not be true. So I think yes, I think that is true.
That is a true.
I mean,
okay.
all of them buying a drink is far-fetched, but I just don't even know how you'd come up with something so stupid and weird. So I think that's true. I think the
Okay.
Saudi prince is true. And I think Ben Stiller, I don't see him as a New York guy, and I don't see him as a buying you a drink guy. So I'm going to say, no offense to Ben Stiller, I love him, but I think he's more LA. So I'm going to go for, and I don't think, I'm going to go for Chippendales and Saudi Prince, a true. Ben Stiller is a lie.
Correct.
Thank you.
You got it right.
But
Wait, but to be
close.
fair,
Yeah.
I did meet. Well, we think it was Ben Stiller.
Was it our honeymoon? It was our
I love
before we
it.
got married. We went to New York and Turks and Caicos Islands. It's like a honeymoon. And a man looking like Ben Stiller opened the door to her in the hotel.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god.
Ben Stiller went, no, it's not. No, it is.
It was.
It was very grey.
It
Obviously,
was.
dyes his hair for films.
Yes, it was.
So maybe it was. He opened the door.
Okay.
You know.
I love that. I love that story. My husband does that all the time. He'd be like, look, it'd be all the time he used to do. It's Chaz from Chaz and Dave all the time. I'd be like, it's not. It's just an old man in a beard with a beard. I mean, all the time. And he's so adamant that it was. Anyway.
Okay.
So let's have yours then, B.
Yes.
Okay. Mine are also themed, Tova. Mine are themed around work that I have done.
Are you taking notes?
No.
Listen, I took notes.
Oh, you're-
Okay. Okay. So, number 1. I was an agony aunt on a magazine, in a column called Dear B. Number 2, I briefly, at the age of 18, worked as a foot model.
Wow.
3, I was the voice of a singing cow on kids' TV.
Wow.
These
good
are great
ones.
stories.
Good ones.
Oh, I want them all to be true.
Wow. Mm.
Oh, okay. I think the
Okay.
agony aunt is correct.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Agony
that's
aunt
right.
is correct. Foot model singing. When you say briefly, I mean
How
briefly
briefly?
could be
Oh, I
you
did.
put out and they go, no. I mean, how brief is
Was it motion picture or just image?
No, it was like I was it was about 3 shoots, all for footwear.
Right.
And it was so it was about 6 months of my life. Yes.
Wow. Singing
Wow.
cow.
When I was 18.
I'm trying to think of kids shows with a singing cow in it.
Could we hear you sing some?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Joking.
I'm
Oh,
I'm gonna say the lie is the singing cow.
I feel that's the lie as well. I feel like you could, yeah.
Only because I can't
don't
think
know.
of a singing cow in
I
a
know.
show.
A singing cow. Okay, we're gonna go with the
We'll go
singing
with
cow.
singing cow.
Wrong.
What?
So The lie is the foot modeling.
Oh,
Wow.
no.
Because I have, and I'm not even going to show you, the worst feet in the world.
wow.
Like the biggest, flattest, buniony feet you've
Wow.
ever
no.
seen in your life. So that when you were thinking that was real, it was kind of a fantasy for me. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, I was a singing cow.
What was the
Wow.
voice? Can
What-
you
yeah,
remember the
do the
voice you were
voice.
singing, Cal?
I was. If you look me up on IMDb, you'll see I was
Wow.
called Dairy Mary
Oh,
in a Channel 5. I was only one episode. I was a cow, but I was a pig in another episode. Singing cow in the TV show called Mist, which was Sheepdog's Tales,
wow.
and they had a song that was meant to be like Respect by Aretha Franklin,
Hmm.
with the cows singing about being milked. And one of the
Wow.
lines was, suck it from me, suck it from me, suck it from me, suck it from me, which had to be
No.
cut.
Wow.
It had to be cut because it was obscene.
Channel
Anyway.
5. I'm amazed that didn't go on.
That's
I wasn't
hilarious.
passed by Channel
But
5.
yeah, so I was
Wow.
the voice of a cow
That's
and
a
a
great
pig.
one.
Wow.
That is brilliant. Right, mine is my theme on Two Truths and a Lie is travel.
Okay.
Travel.
Okay.
Travel theme. Two truths,
Okay.
truths and a lie. Number one, I was once stranded on the River Plate River in Argentina. Number two, I was once stranded on the Christ the Redeemer statue mountain, Corcovado Mountain in Rio de Janeiro. Or three, I was stranded at the Machu Picchu in Peru.
So the thing is, you just get
Stranded
stranded.
abroad.
Stranded abroad.
Stranded abroad.
Right.
Stuck. Stuck abroad. So you've got the River Plate,
I'm not going to
Christ the
participate because
Redeemer.
I know one of the
Macu-
stories.
You know them?
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Oh goodness me.
Quite a difficult
Mike.
one because they're quite general.
Yes.
Mike,
You're
I
very,
can't
you're very,
see you.
you're very proud of yourself, aren't you?
Well, it came out with it 5 minutes ago.
Was it all in one trip? Or did you go to South America several times and get stranded? Oh, you can't reveal
Well,
this,
you know,
can
it's
you?
sort of, I was in the area, obviously.
I think the River Plate in Argentina. I can see you in Argentina, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can see that happening. And I can see the
Eating
stranding.
an ice
I can
cream.
see you being stranded. Not that hard to be stranded on a river. The mountain in Rio, I reckon, don't take this badly, but I think I can imagine you getting stranded on a mountain quite easily. Because you probably wouldn't want to go up that far. You'd probably be like, I'm stranded. Yeah. Well, you had a breather.
Stranded in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Machu Picchu, I believe that's quite hard to get to, and a bit of a mission. And I'm not calling you lazy, but I can't see you getting there. So I'm going to say Machu Picchu is a lie.
Is the correct answer.
Wow.
Well done.
B, you're very good at this game. Oh my God. I feel like I think
Very
I
good.
never
I've
Amazing.
never played it before, and I
Amazing.
you
really
have
think
a talent. You've discovered a talent
But
today.
in fairness, with the
God.
Christ the Redeemer Mountain, I was at the top.
Yeah.
But we went up on, you go up on the cable cars, but then on the way down, there was taxis who were charging 3 times what they were charging to go up. And me, I was literally saving 5 pence, but like a local, I was like, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. So we got stranded. And everyone went, it was getting dark, and we had to walk 2,300 feet down a mountain.
stranded for being cheap.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
There we are.
Nice.
Well done, everybody.
I honestly think that you are the best at this game
Yeah,
that we've
nailed
ever
it.
had. Nailed
100%,
it. Really
100%.
good.
Do
Amazing.
you know what? And maybe this should be a new sort of career for me. Is there a career in this? Mike, maybe I could be like maybe I could be an act for you.
Exactly.
You
Like
can
a
represent me.
mind reading out. Mind reading.
A
out. Different people come up and just
And they
say
tell
one
you
of
their
these
stories.
is a lie,
Yeah.
and that's it.
It's really good.
Mike,
3-hour
let's talk.
show.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk, baby.
Oh my
15% for you.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So B, I want to come back now to the female lead. And actually
Yeah.
me and you had a little chat the other day. And one of the things that we talked about was, you know, you obviously doing all this research and you have this access to so many women, then you probably are a really good person to tell us what women are talking about. What are women interested about talking about? And just let's have that conversation.
Sure. Well, having just completed so many interviews for the book, that was really interesting. It was right after we were just kind of being released from lockdown. It was in April 2021. So, people were thinking a lot about how that had impacted them. Women that I interviewed were talking a lot about work and how, time is up for work-life balance for women. Like, we really need to sort that out, have conversations about how we change that. I mean, I think there's a sense in the interviews I did about, just wanting to dismantle so many of the things that we think are just like a given for us, like that we're going to have to do the childcare, like dealing with the childcare when we go back to work, and that, all of this kind of mental load is for us. And there's the sense that, it doesn't have to be that way. Come on, we can do something about this, and we all have to sort of work together. So there was that was interesting. I mean, something that women talk about so much. I do a podcast, by the way, which you can find wherever you get your podcast, called The Making Of, where I talk to women about moments that have made them, like, significant moments in their lives. And they're all like really amazing women who've achieved a lot in different kinds of areas. So I've got like Caitlin Moran, I talked to Bobby Brown, who else I talked to? Like Dina Asher-Smith, the Olympian, Mel Gedroych, Mary Beard, Emma Barnett, Christian Amanpour, like really amazing women. And some of the things that they often talk about are the importance of having, like, when they have kids, how vital it is to have a partner who's taking an equal share. It's like, you cannot career if you don't have a partner who's, I mean, some women are single mothers, and obviously I don't know how they do it, and that is incredible. But if you are with a partner, they have to be taking an equal share. It's just like essential.
But don't you think that's one area that's it surely has improved, especially with lockdown as well, that everyone's been at home? Or do you still think there's this massive gulf in parental responsibility? I suppose it boils down to.
I mean, I think some of it has changed, and actually lockdown has been a massive illuminator of what women have had to do, and lots of men have seen actually about all the work they didn't even know existed, like that they didn't even know about it. They thought fairies were doing this shit. Like they were just like, oh, you're doing that every single day. And so I think that has changed things. But there's a real perception gap between what is equal and what is, like, I think a lot of men and a lot of women think that 30% domestic labor from a man is actually equal, when it's not. I mean, it's like genuinely 50-50 is really rare. I think it's really rare. I know you two do it like 50-50.
Oh, Mike will,
right?
It's 30 in my favor. Fairness, really? He doesn't know where the dishwasher is.
Certain things don't bother me, I'm
Clearly.
like, the dishes don't bother me.
No, but I remember when I interviewed you, Tova, I said to you, like, what do you think about the mental load? And you were like, if Mike was here, he'd say, what mental load? You don't do anything.
At least I'm honest, I don't lie. But it wasn't always the case for us, like I think that.
But seriously, go back to your point. But even if you sort of go, probably, I mean, maybe I'm talking a bit generally here. Maybe this is an age thing, but I will hunch that the majority of men don't think they should be doing the equal amount. Hence the problem. You've got 50% of the population, half of the relationship, if you were to, a straight relationship, going, why should I do it? And that should have nothing to do with who earns most money, who's physically out the house more or whatever. But I think that's always going to be the main problem.
Yes,
that people just
completely.
go, stop, sorry, it's not my job.
Yeah.
And I know
And
my parents, the parents' generation, clearly there was, the woman stayed at home and raised the kids and did everything around the house. Housewife,
yeah.
obviously being the term.
Yeah, totally. And actually, even when you talk to, forward thinking men, modern men about this, they're kind of like a bit squirmy because they don't want to do, like, if they can keep getting
Yeah.
away with it, they would like to, because it's crap work. Like, no one wants to do that stuff. So if
Yeah.
you can get away with it and be like, do, 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 do,
But also I
I'm
think
better than
it's that there's no worth like that's been attached to that shitty work,
Yes.
like whether it's a woman or a man doing it, doesn't matter. Like my point is, it's a real job, and if you took the equivalent and said, right, okay, so instead we're going to hire a nanny, and instead we're going to get a cook, and we're going to have a cleaner, and we're going to do we're going to get a chauffeur, and we're going to get whatever, and you sort of like sum it up and you go, wow, that's like 100,000. What they did, the calculation was about 80,000, between 80,000 to 100,000 a year salary. That's a big
Yeah,
salary, but nobody appreciates it in that way, so it just gets
totally.
kind of, it's like it's a nothing job, and it's
Absolutely.
worth so much money when you break it down.
Completely. And you're talking about 24-hour care, like
Yeah.
the idea, there's those, the relationships where they'll be like, okay, the man is going out to work and the woman is staying at home, but she's looking after the family. I've had these conversations with friends. They're like, she's looking after the family, she's looking after the house, and that is her job and that is his job. And like, oh, actually, and you kind of can say, oh, well, maybe that makes life simpler because the woman who's staying at home knows her role very clearly, that's what she has to do, and the man just goes out and makes the money. And then I'm always like, yeah, but that is not a fair trade, because what she's doing is crap work that is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he's going out and doing his 9 to 5 and coming home. Like, that is still not a fair trade.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's 24/7. But also, I think I think the other issue is, I don't know how this links in, but I think the other issue is that it just gives women like much less just power in the kind of like when you look at it. Because I have friends, I know people who, for example, that's their sort of dynamic in their family, and it works for them. They're happy, but there's still a sense then that the money isn't theirs,
Of course,
that the money is earned
absolutely.
by the husband. So if
Yeah.
there needs to be some sort of purchase or
Yeah,
whatever, it's always like,
here's the
yeah, it's
here's that
like,
allowance
yeah,
for the house
but that
money.
so that's where I'm saying, like, the
Spend
value
it
of the
wisely.
work that
Yeah.
they do is somehow not written into the books. And you sort of
Yep.
feel like, well, actually, no, it should be written in the books, like, where is
Yeah.
it? Where is it? It's like, it's not there. So then it's looked as, you don't bring any money in and I'm bringing all the money in. But no, I've just
Yeah.
saved the family
Yeah.
about between 80 to 100,000 pounds a year. That's what
Yeah.
I've done.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my contribution. So yeah, and I get it a lot with friends, with that kind of that kind of feeling in them. And you're right. It means that a lot of women don't have security for the future. It means that a lot of women stay in relationships that they maybe would not want to stay in, because they don't have anything for, if they wanted to leave, what would they leave with?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and the whole
Yeah.
system, by the way, is not geared up to help women and support. And I think that's the main thing.
Yes.
The system is
Completely.
not geared up to support women to go back to work after having babies, childcare. There's no support. Like, there's just no support.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, I completely agree with you. And so that is something that women have been talking about a lot, and actually I think that the lockdown experience and the having that sort of sudden change in the way that we work has just brought all of this out, like even more than before, like thinking
Yeah.
about the fairness and how we go forward. Yeah. Another thing that women talk about a lot, which is especially, I noticed especially when I was doing the podcast, is how their physical appearance, women often talk about a moment that they had where they realized, oh, I'm just going to get over my physical appearance. Like, that it was something that was always on their mind, or kind of tormenting them, or it was like causing them trouble. And then often these women who have achieved a lot had a moment where they were like, actually, do you know what, I'm just going to stop caring about this, or I'm going to care about it less. And I found that so interesting, because on the one reason I thought, if I was talking to a load of men, would anyone say this in a million years? I don't think so.
No, we don't talk about those things. We, you might get one bloke says to another, "Oh, you've had a haircut," but I think maybe younger people, maybe younger guys, maybe talk about it more, their appearance, because so many of them, you could argue, look the same, have a certain look. But certainly my generation, you wouldn't have people commenting on how you look, what you're wearing, or you look nice in this and this and that. And that very, very rarely. It's not a thing that boys get from growing up. Obviously, Toby, girls get that from growing up.
Messages from a very early age, but I'm wondering how, I think it probably also links to money. And when you think about women, we're such a big buying force in the world, and especially young, like from teenage up to like your 30s is like when you're the strongest kind of, and that's when the brands kind of throw at you everything under the sun to try and do this or that or whatever, so that you would buy it. And I feel like it's like a money making machine to make women feel shit about themselves, because then women are going to go out and buy the creams and buy the Botox and buy the the slim shapers and buy the shakes to make their slim, or whatever it is. And it's just a money making machine. And I don't know if maybe when women reach that kind of like 40s 50s, where you kind of go, actually my goal here is to live a good life and a long life and a healthy life, and not so much I have my, like, do you know what I mean? Like maybe something shifts at that point. I don't know, but I don't know if that really
I think I agree. I totally agree with you. I feel like it is all tied into a kind of industrial complex as well. Definitely, like make you feel insecure, sell you back your feelings of esteem with products. But then at the same time, I think there's something that's just like baked into our society, which is like women are the looked at ones, we're the decorative ones, we have to be beautiful. It's like so much a part of like what we think being a woman is. That's our value. It's just absolutely sewn in. And I think what I took from, I think you're right, there's something about getting older and just kind of getting a bit more, kind of getting over it a bit. But I think what I took from it was that there were young women I spoke to who said they kind of decided, okay, I'm just not going to care about this as much anymore. And I felt like it was almost that to be really determined and successful in certain areas, or no, maybe in everywhere, you just had to stop obsessing about it a bit, because it takes up too much of your bandwidth. And actually, you can't ever be perfect. Like, that quest for physical perfection is madness. So you have to have a point where you're like, okay, this has to stop now, because I'm just going to be chasing it and chasing it and chasing it. I'll lose weight, I still won't be happy. I'll get some fillers and I still won't be happy. So it's like you have to have a word with yourself and just say, okay, you're going to have to just live with what you've got for now.
But I think you should always hold on to the dream of becoming a foot model. I think that's important. I think
I want to show you one of these
hold dear to
hooves.
that.
Looks like a normal foot.
That was a good angle.
Foot that was. Oh, that's so funny. No, I love that. Well, anyway, I love talking to you, Bea. I feel like we can talk forever. I want you to just mention quickly where people can find your podcast, The Making of. I know you mentioned it. Where could they go, download, subscribe? What should they do?
So they can go, I mean, if you go to Audio Boom, you can get it on all different channels, Apple, Spotify, wherever you want to get a podcast, we are there.
Amazing. Yes. And the female lead, of course, also has big platforms everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I know you're
LinkedIn.
Also Twitter and LinkedIn. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We're across it.
Because you shared a few of my videos, and then I got people kind of like coming over from LinkedIn going, are you in LinkedIn? I was like, no.
I mean, maybe you should try it. It's like becoming much more social there, isn't it? Yeah.
Really should. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy.
And we've loved having you too. For everybody listening, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review, and we shall. Well, you will hear us next week.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.